Welcome to the California Cybersecurity Industry Convening. Thank you very much to our speaker, Secretary Sue, and Director Ghilarducci for their insightful comments and remarks, as well as their support and confidence in these activities going on here today at this California Cybersecurity Industry Convening. My name is Keith Clement, and I'm a professor of criminology at California State University, Fresno, and I also have the honor and privilege of serving as the California Cybersecurity Task Force Workforce Development Education Subcommittee Chairperson. And so in that capacity, it is great to have everybody participating and attending the convening today. And I would like to give some kind of big 70,000 foot big picture views of a couple of observations of what one can expect to see today and what we'll be talking about and the reasons why we are here, of course. So first of all, I would like to say that it's great to have our representatives from industry and employers, both the public and the private sector. I appreciate the government organizations and government agency folks that are in attendance as well. And of course, our education and higher education community colleagues as well. One thing that we know about cybersecurity and workforce development is that it requires major partners and key stakeholders to be involved and engage and collaborate and work together on the development of these education and workforce development solutions. So I appreciate to have everybody here. It's amazing to get everybody here. And as subcommittee chair, I think that's really one of the aspects of this project that I am personally most proud of is the facilitation and coordination and the bringing together of various folks to support what we are calling a California cybersecurity career education pipeline and pathway that is supported at all levels of education, K through 12, our 2-year school community college friends, our 4-year University of California and California State University colleagues as well, and all of the employers, both small and medium-sized businesses, of course, our large industry. And one thing that we are aware of today is that all businesses, whatever the size, whatever the industry, whatever the nature of the business, we are all IT firms. We all rely on networks and computers and data, and that's where we are today. And so it is extra essential to protect these very sensitive pieces of data, whether it's personal or business or, again, there's a very ubiquitous feel to IT and cybersecurity today that is it's everywhere. It touches on every aspect of our daily lives. It starts from when you're a newborn in an incubator and they give you a warm cooing tablet device, and we understand that most people throughout the course of their lives will have this tablet or this device or the smartphone or whatever it is that you're using to watch this presentation, this view today. So we have a lot to talk about today, and I view a convening of this sort to have 4 major principles and themes that are driving our show today. The first is education programs. And of course, that's the panel that we're on right now. We'll be hearing from our colleagues from the California State University and our colleagues from the UC Office of the President and our colleagues from the Cal Community Colleges. But we need to talk about cybersecurity education programs, that is degree programs and also certificate programs. We need to make sure that all aspects of the talent model in cybersecurity is handled. So there are folks that are going to need some math heavy, science heavy, programming heavy, computer sciencey kinds of 4-year degree programs to really meet their occupational goals, their career aspirations as they get older. But one thing that we also understand, and particularly industry understands, is the importance of certificate programs. And a certificate program is obviously vastly different than a degree program, needless to say. And one of the things that we would like to make sure that the certificate programs that we're developing all have a workforce development component to them. After all, that is really one of the troubles that IT and tech and cyber and information systems and software development and many of these types of majors really have, is the need for hands-on engagement, the need to learn by doing. There is no substitute for experience. The textbook might be a great read, but it's certainly not going to install that firewall for you. So we need to have a workforce development component. We also are looking at what we are calling a apprenticeship and a pre-apprenticeship strategy to handle the workforce development component to it. The third part of today's meeting is to have a candid discussion with the cyber and IT and the many other employers that are currently on this call, that are on this webinar. That is that employers and the education communities need to get together with our partners in government to make sure the education programs that are being developed meet the needs of industry, they meet the needs of employers. They are putting, when we are graduating candidates from these programs, employers need to rest assured that these programs meet their needs. They handle the issues that their firm has, that it takes care of their business. And so it is essential to be very involved with the employers. So of course we'll have an employer panelist or an employer panel filled with panelists who have actually done quite a bit of hiring themselves in this area. They will have the opportunity to talk about what they're looking for and not what they're looking for when interviewing and hiring cybersecurity entry-level professionals. And of course, the fourth major theme that we have today is the discussion of diversity and inclusivity and equity and an even playing field in the area of cybersecurity. And that means both in terms of education, that is, everybody has access and availability to these education programs wherever they are across the state of California. But furthermore, we need to make sure that those that do not have a vast tech experience or education to rely upon are able to enter this with what we are calling a soft start. That is, that we want to make sure that people that are entering the field, particularly those that are drawn from underrepresented or historically underrepresented backgrounds, have the skills necessary for success in this area. We do not want to set folks up to not succeed here. We are trying to solve a workforce development problem. We are trying to move people through a pipeline and a pathway to get them to help out with some of California and the nation's cyber workforce development education issues. Towards that end, we have two strategies. These two strategies are intended to develop a career pipeline pathway in the state of California to develop the next 50,000 cybersecurity professionals for entry-level employment from the years 2020 to 2030. It is a big picture strategy. That is, it lays out how to develop the blueprint and framework for a cyber career pipeline that stretches across all levels of education. But it really begins to take off in conjunction with what the California Department of Education calls career technical education, that begins in approximately the 6th and the 7th grade. So this strategy, of course, covers all levels of education. It talks about the value of cyber competitions, hackathons, coding camps, and extracurricular activities, in addition to a discussion of the model curriculum that exists currently in California relating to ICT, information communications technology, and also cybersecurity as a part of that. And the objective, of course, is to get people to work. As we all know, about 1/3 of the economy, American and state economy, has dried up as a result of COVID-19. And as a result of that, we now are left in a job situation that was like what it was back in the Great Depression. It is essential to get people back to work. So while the strategy, the cybersecurity workforce development education strategy is the big picture, the first tactic or the first step in the process is through the development of what we call the California Cybersecurity Essential Workforce Youth Pre and Registered Apprenticeship Talent Pipeline, which lays out a pacing guide that describes the exact steps that a candidate, a student candidate that is interested in a career in cybersecurity would take. And it begins again about 5th and 6th grade at this phase 1 of operations, and it lays out the various components at the middle school and high school levels that should culminate in a student graduating from high school with the equivalent of either a CompTIA Security Plus certificate or its Cisco Network Academy equivalent, or the Red Hat Linux cloud and security sequence of courses. So in any case, there's some programming here and some hands-on labs, etc. But the purpose of the essential workforce talent pipeline is to provide the California COVID-19 pandemic response, first responders, healthcare, medical, small and medium-sized businesses that have all been hit hard by this COVID-19, and further the evidence of cyber tomfoolery going on, cyber shenanigans of these very agencies, these very organizations, and the need that we have to protect our systems, our data, our networks, our institutions, our companies, our government, et cetera, et cetera. So it is through the development of a California cybersecurity career pipeline pathway and essential workforce pre and registered apprenticeship process that we can begin to reduce the significant numbers of California's cybersecurity workforce capacity gap that we have, estimated at 70,000 California cybersecurity jobs currently available, over 500,000 jobs available currently at the national level, and over 1.5 million jobs internationally in this area. So we all have a workforce development issue today. We need plans and solutions to take care of these issues. And I am so pleased today to have the opportunity to introduce and speak with, all of us speak with, representatives from the California State University Chancellor's Office, from the California Community College Chancellor's Office, and of course, our colleagues from the University of California Office of the President. I certainly hope that you enjoy the rest of the panel speakers today. I certainly hope that you find this event to be a very worthwhile event, and looking forward to hearing from many of you in the coming days as we move this industry convening from a virtual meeting into a ecosystem where we are putting qualified candidates finishing education programs together with industry employers on the public and private sector side, as well as putting folks to work in our government organizations in the area of IT and cybersecurity. Thank you very much. The host will introduce our next speaker. Thank you very much.